people.
Welcome back to Counting Thoughts podcast.
Finally, we are together and finally we're doing this. But yes.
And for the ones who are listening to us for the very first time, welcome to Counting Thoughts podcast. So, welcome back to everyone who has been listening to us for quite some time. We share all our thoughts, all this to bring change, one thought at a time.
Amen. I have a bad throat. Like I've had a bad throat for a while now.
Yeah.
Still recovering. So I'm sorry if my voice is more horrible than usual. And we're actually sorry that we've been missing. And more than me, in my defense. But we're actually sorry that we've been missing. But yes, we're back. Today's episode has come from Anmol's brain because
While we were not shooting the podcast for like 2 months now, I think people have been asking them, where's your podcast? Why are you not shooting a podcast? Why are you not uploading it? And there are also people who are like, we're not sure what exactly it is. And I was like, interesting topic. I'll share this with you.
Yes, I think my father was the only individual who asked me that why we're not uploading any podcast. He got all this, you're slacking and you should do this, even if it's a passion project, you should give it your 100%, and I don't know why you're not, paying attention. If you really want to pursue it, you have to give it 100% attention. Then my excuse was that life is happening and we are sort of a little short on time these days, and he's like that you have to make time for the important things in your life. And
tough love, Asian parents and tough love go hand in hand.
I think with Asian parents, food is the love language. I've come to realize he expresses his love through food. Asians similarly are that. There was a very viral meme. So apparently there is a comedian. He's an Asian.
Yeah.
So he's an East Asian, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know from where exactly. So he made a joke that I do not feel anything because we don't look alike, and Indians are not Asians. Like
I'm surprised that this Yasha knows about this. That is why. A meme. Yes. Because that's not her genre of interest usually.
Yes, usually.
But and I also think that it's funny. Initially, when I saw it for the first time, I got a little offended. I'll be honest. But then I saw the reaction of Asians. So there was this one very beautiful woman. She was like, "There's a difference between what is being said on the internet and facts." So she laughed, she literally laughed, and she was like, if people are challenging that and believing it to be true, then it's not true, and you should
I think it is because us as South Asians and East Asians, we look different. Factually we look different, but factually we're also part of the same continent. There is truth to the fact that we don't look alike. There is also truth to the fact that we're the same continent.
But I think he meant it in a... I don't know.
It was a joke.
It was a joke.
Yes.
I'll give it to him.
Okay, so since we're all caught up and we've been sidetracked as usual.
So we'll come back to the actual question. What is a podcast?
Yes, let's do that. We've jotted down the technical side of things, and today's episode comes from a listener point of view as well as somebody who is making podcasts as well. So we're trying to cover both sides of things. Not the technical sides of things, but then
in a layman language.
Like I've been told that people don't listen to podcasts, it's stupid, it hasn't caught up, it's not viral. Everybody has their own mentality and everybody has their own notion. People explore podcasting, but not enough people know about it. My mum and dad did not know what a podcast is, but people from my generation generally most give or take idea tha उन्हें कि podcasting क्या होती है.
What happens? I think during the pandemic, a lot of us, especially including me, including me in this, a lot of us, I knew that podcasting is a thing, but I did not know exactly how to describe it. But during the pandemic, there's this music application, Spotify. So I am habitual of listening to music before I sleep. So they also have podcasts in Spotify. There's also a column where you have podcasts, and that is when I heard a podcast for the first time, and I was like, dude, this is so cool. But I think I did like it because then there are also people who are authors at intellectual levels, and they give good motivational speeches. And that is when I, started listening to positive podcasts to bring out more positivity during the pandemic.
By making podcasts, I've come to realize that not everybody knew about podcasts, and people who did know about podcasts, the only common denominator was travel time. Like, to kill that travel time, they were listening to different podcasts. मतलब ये मेरा personal, this is just a personal hypothesis, because मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि जो travel कर रहा है खाली वो podcast सुन रहा है, because आप कितने गाने सुनोगे? Because I have also traveled, so almost 50 minutes give or take I would take to reach from like work to office or office to work.
So one thing I love about podcasts is, one, it's an audio file of course, but then it's very versatile and it has different genres. Like you can put in, it's for storytelling, or you can listen to TED Talks, or they are ASMRs.
So not to share the technical side of things, but then anybody who's trying to understand what a podcast is. So
it's an audio format file, that is first thing.
It's an audio program. Basically, it's just an audio program. It's like a radio show, like Papa ke zamane mein there was radio
shows.
But then it's something like, it's pre-recorded, so you can listen to it as per your own convenience. So radio shows are generally live. So you would have to put on the radio at a particular time. इसमें ऐसा है that you can download it, save it, or probably stream it whenever you feel comfortable. That is what, like, that's the simplest way to put what a podcast would be. To explain to my mother, I have also said that जैसे YouTube होता है videos के लिए, podcast होता है audio के लिए. Like this is how I explain my mom. Yes. So the only technical lingo that you need to be aware of is the host and the director. So a host is like a main server that stores all the episodes of your podcast. Like if you have a podcast, anybody who has a podcast, उसका सारा सब कुछ would be stored with the host. So in our case, that is Anchor, and all the episodes that we make, originally the server for all our audio files at least is Anchor. The directory is the application that you would use to listen to the podcast. So like Apple Podcast or Google Podcast or Spotify. India mein there is Prime also. So like wherever you live, whatever application that you use, that would be your directory. Now say suppose a friend tells you,
I have a podcast. Or I'm listening to a podcast.
So what do you do? Like if you're interested in listening to what they're listening to, you ask them ki kya podcast. You go there and you subscribe. You go to the directory or the applications that whatever you use, like you use Spotify or whatever you use. मुझे ऐसा भी लगता है that podcasts are today, like in India at least, where YouTube was a decade ago. With podcasts, that awareness is not there.
Yeah.
The popularity is rising. Like the biggest strength of a podcast is seen as its biggest weakness, which is, the lack of video. Now, just hear me out. You need to understand that a podcast is made with the idea of कि कोई इंसान काम कर रहा होगा और काम करते करते मेरा podcast सुन लेगा. So it's not very, even if there are podcasts that share very, very technical stuff, it is made with the thought that nobody is going to give it 100% attention. With the video, you can't do that. Even if podcast videos are put on YouTube, you will obviously look at the video, right? You basically, like people like me who listen to podcasts when they drive, when I'm doing stuff around the house, when I'm cooking, cleaning,
chores, household chores, office chores, professional, personal chores,
whatever. So I think I like to listen to because I listen to our podcast when I'm doing research work, just to
self-analysis.
I think now I know that a podcast is not made with the idea of 100% attention milega mujhe, although we would want to get 100% of your attention, but we are aware this is also a hypothesis और ये मुझे ही लगता है बस, और मुझे नहीं पता है कितना ये सच है, पर ये मुझे लगता है तो मैं शेयर कर रही हूँ कि because as I said, the popularity of podcasts is rising. YouTube somehow has seen this, predicted this, and they have come up with a solution, and that is YouTube Premium.
Right.
पूछो क्यों? Personal hypothesis ये है. What YouTube is very sly, and YouTube, publicizes itself, the premium membership. Hold on. YouTube publicizes the premium membership by saying that you will get ad-free music and because
other benefits.
The only benefit is that you will get ad-free music, and people like me thought, I'll get ad-free music and that's good. What I did not know when I took the premium membership was that I will be able to, even if the video is playing, I'll be able to, lock my screen and I will be able to listen to the audio. What I did not know is that the app will be able to play in the background, and I will be able to do stuff in foreground, because I have used YouTube and I have used YouTube Premium, so I know that when you just have a YouTube, normal YouTube अगर आपके पास है, तो you keep it lying, one ad is playing, two you keep it lying in हाथ लग जाएगा, or some other गाना will start playing, some other video will start playing. But with YouTube Premium ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. If you play a video, you can actually use YouTube as an audio platform, and YouTube has come with YouTube Music as well. Obviously.
And this is not a YouTube sponsored episode, just BTW.
पर मतलब मुझे लगा they've tried the best to compete with the rising popularity of podcasts. But then this is just my hypothesis. Just my podcast platform is Google Podcasts. I think I did not have Spotify because Spotify has come to India during the pandemic. उससे पहले we were living life without Spotify.
I do have Apple Music and I do have Apple Podcasts and all these things, but somehow
You are a Spotify person.
I'm a Spotify person, yes.
With me, if I'm listening to a podcast, I am generally 99% of the time listening to it on Google Podcasts. And if I'm not listening to the podcast over there, if there is video available, then I will probably listen to it on YouTube. Udhar bhi I'm listening, I'm not watching the video. I am listening only, but then I am listening on YouTube Premium.
We just are trying to communicate what all platforms is what you can use, and also it's free of cost. Irrespective of you listening to the podcast on Google Podcast or Apple Podcast or Spotify, Anchor, wherever you're listening, the best thing about all of these things is they are available free of cost. You don't have to buy a specific subscription to avail it.
Apart from the platform that you're listening to it on,
you just need the application.
So say suppose you are paying some certain money for Spotify, then you're paying for Spotify, you're not paying for the podcast that you're listening to.
Entirety.
So the podcasts generally are free. Apart from the multitasking capabilities that a podcast provides, it also, I think the other benefits of a podcast is that it is free. There's a lot of choice, not just the genre, the length of the podcast.
Yeah. It could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it could be 3 hours.
Yes, there are 3 hours.
There are also people who are narrating books.
Yes.
I actually heard one.
There is a podcast in India that the person narrates Mahabharata, one of our scriptures. He sits down and narrates Mahabharata.
He's one of the most famous podcasters in India.
It is number 1 on Spotify. There is a podcast wherein they pick up a very stupid piece of news and they just make fun of that news. There will be a podcast that will cater to your needs.
Yeah. So I think Yasha's major reason of listening to a podcast is to avoid the screen time, if I'm not wrong, right?
Yes, because work now is in front of the screen.
The professional work and the personal.
Everything is on my laptop. For me, chilling is not Netflix anymore. For me, chilling is avoiding watching a video becomes very, very. मेरे लिए it is tedious because मुझे लगता है मेरी आँखों को आराम ही नहीं मिल रहा है. Yeah.
I will actually agree to it, and this is I think you will be one of the happiest people to know this. To cut out my screen time and to avoid social media, it takes over after a while. So to avoid all of those things, I think I actually started reading a book.
Thank God.
The writer in Yasha is happy.
No, the reader inside me is happy.
So I think that's all. But I think you might have got insight as to how podcasting
So I think that will be a wrap for
from
episode
our
1.
side. Episode 1 of 3rd season, and happy New Year's to every one of you.
Yes, we were recording this in 2022, but then this will come out in 2023. Yes.
So happy New Year's to everyone, and I wish you lots of love.
Yes, happy New Year's, people, and listen to more podcasts. Stay warm.
Send love.
We hope that 2023 is full of love and full of peace and full of more opportunities for everybody out there.
Yes.
So,
Lots
yes.
of love. Bye.